Goal planning. Are you bound to fail?
That's so funny. Okay.
You didn't ask for our opinion.
But we're going to give it to you anyways.
It's the board of the Bling Bling Broads. My name is Sol.
And I am SANNA. And we are officially on episode 4 and the board meeting is in session. What is on the agenda today, Sol?
Well, today we're going to talk about goal setting. We're going to review some goal setting stats, then talk about our personal goal setting experiences. And then we're going to give you some tips and tricks because
we've never failed a goal in our lives.
Never. We're so perfect.
So who better to tell you about goal setting and how to be successful than two perfect people?
Exactly, because we're so perfect. So perfect.
I hope people get irony.
And then
I really do.
Sarcasm, yes. Sarcasm. And then we will determine if goal setting is cool or not cool.
Yes, sir.
So, because we're the ultimate determinators of coolness and not coolness.
That is the point of these board meetings. It's for us to determine whatever the topic is.
Is cool or not cool.
Whatever's on the agenda.
Right, because we're cool people. The coolest.
I've heard that the more times you say it, the cooler you get. So I think you should say it again.
Exactly.
Just to be sure.
We're cool. We're very cool. Very cool people.
Okay, but I heard rumors that you had some stats for me.
I do have some stats for you. So I do want to link these in our descriptions. Yeah. But there was one that was 35 cool stats about goals, but we're just going to go with the 9 goal stats. Okay. So, all right. Number 1, according to a survey, visualizing and imagining your goal can make you twice as confident in achieving them. Only 31% of those who don't visualize feel confident about achieving their goals, as opposed to 59% of those who visualize.
I 100% believe that. Well, yeah. Also, James Clear, the guy who wrote Atomic Habits, which we'll talk more about, he also really prefaces that. And I've seen a lot of people when they talk about goal setting that they every morning they write their goal on paper every single morning. So it just sticks. Or you've seen a lot of people that put it on their mirror, they put a note, post-it note, something. It just the visualizing it, the constant reminder, it helps. So I believe that visualizing it is going to help you.
But SANNA, what about for people who are blind? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Please don't cancel me.
That's so stupid.
Well, I'm surprised that it's only 59% of those who feel confident, but I guess it's more than half. So.
Well, but then, okay, 100% of the people that set goals are 100% of those people actually dedicated, really dedicated to the journey of making the change? Because everyone wants to win a gold medal, right? But are you willing to put in the work required for the gold medal?
I believe that everyone who sets goals are 100% going to achieve their goals.
I don't.
I'm kidding. Let's be a pessimist here. No.
No, I'm not saying that it is not possible. Obviously, I want you to achieve your goals, but just based on what we see, how many goals have you not set that you've not done either?
So many. So many.
I don't believe everyone is 100% as dedicated as they think they are. I think they would like to have whatever reward is in your goal.
Right.
But I don't know if you're actually 100% dedicated to the journey.
I have a goal of marrying someone very, very rich, and...
How's that going for you?
Not good. I don't think I'm that dedicated to that journey is my problem. Anyways, okay. Number 2. I'm joking. I don't have to marry someone rich. I'm not a gold digger. I'm a wannabe gold digger that is incredibly failing at it.
I will cut this part out so you do sound like a gold digger.
Okay. Oh, clip it.
The power of the editor.
Okay. A study by Forbes found that people who vividly describe their goals in a written form are 1.2 or 1.4 more likely to be successful than those who don't.
Isn't that what we call manifesting? That's getting more and more popularity.
But if you write it
Yeah.
down, you're more likely to
Yeah.
achieve it. Okay, number 3,
Mm-hmm.
45% of people who 45% of people achieve their New Year's resolutions.
How many?
45%.
That's a very optimistic statistic, and I have
Right.
a hard time believing that. I don't mean to be pessimistic.
Yeah, that's
It would be lovely if that's true, but I feel like New Year's resolution has this like what's it called? Reputation that people fail. And there's no way it would have the reputation of failing if 45% succeeded. I think it's a
right.
too high percentage like success rate for that reputation to uphold, if that makes sense.
We actually did an episode on New Year's resolutions that we didn't release. And didn't it say like 80% of people who set resolutions don't give up on their goal by February or March or something like that?
Yeah.
So, according to that statistic, this statistic doesn't sound right.
Well, because goal setting is habit changing, and habit changing is hard. So I'm not saying that it's easy to reach your goal, but
No, it's very easy. What are you talking about? I've reached every single goal that I've set for my life because I'm perfect.
good for you.
Thank
That's
you.
why you're going to heaven.
Yes. Yes. Okay, number 4, a study by the Journal of Applied Psychology states that presenting weekly progress reports of your goal increases your success rate by 40%.
Accountability.
Yes.
I like it.
So I like that one too. Number 5, 14% of people with goals are 10 times more successful than those without goals. 14% of people with goals are 10 times more successful than those without goals.
I don't understand that statistic. Wait,
Yeah,
what?
it's saying 14% of people who have goals are 10 times more successful than those without goals. So they're basically comparing people without goals with 14% of people with goals. So basically the elite, I think, is what they're...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like they're saying
Yeah.
that if you want to be successful in life, like setting goals
No,
is a
it's...
big part of
well,
like because 14
they're I think they're comparing high goal achievers with people who don't have goals. And
Okay,
that's
so
why they're saying are 10 times more successful.
okay, because I interpreted it as like people that are successful, like in general, like people that are business successful are
Goal setters.
are goal setters.
Yeah. So I think they're probably part of that 14%. So the statistic is a little weird. And the number 6, people have a 65% chance of reaching a goal if they have an accountability partner. So
I swear, accountability is
yes.
like you don't want to go around like bragging about your goal, because I've also heard that if you tell everyone that you've like about your goal and they like praise you for it, that also kind of acts like a reward thing. So in your mind, you feel like you've accomplished it in a way because you
Right.
get the recognition. Like if you go around saying like, I'm gonna run a marathon, people are gonna be like, oh my gosh, like you're so good for that. That's so impressive. I could never do that. So you kind of get the reward before having done it. So they recommend you to like be a little
Right.
not quiet about it, but to be more focused on it and to like get addicted to getting the recognition for
Right.
working on a goal that is so high, for example.
Yeah, braggadocio is a disease.
Yes.
But here's the thing about accountability partners, though. If you don't well, I think you need a good accountability partner, because if you don't care about their opinion or what they're saying, or just am really casual about it, then there's no point of having an accountability partner if you're just going to ignore what they're saying.
Yeah. Well, I guess you can also use an accountability partner as like someone to get advice from. Because you don't want them to like be upset with you if you didn't do it. But if you check it in every week, you can be like, I had a really rough week with this whatever goal you were working on, and then they can be like, okay, cool. How about you adapt this way or that way? Like you get like an outside perspective, someone who's watching you through your progress. So they have to care about you enough to be invested in your goal.
Well, you have to care about them, and they have to care about you. Relationships, man. People relationships. 7, in 90% of the studies, challenging and specific goals resulted in better performance than easy goals, no goals, or do your best goals. I mean, I feel like
Are they just
that they're saying most studies show that challenging and specific goals result in better performance, which makes sense. I feel like that's a
Yeah.
very well-known thing.
I feel like we didn't need to do stats on that, but
Well, I don't know.
Well-
This is from brainwork.com, so if you have problems with these stats, they're the
That's
ones
what-
that wrote it.
well, but like, if you're, I'm just gonna do my best. That's not very. What does your best look like?
Yeah, I mean, I
Like,
don't
of course,
know.
specific goals are
Well, you
easier because you
gotta-
can say that you did it or not.
Right.
If it is your best, then how do you know that you did it?
What is the metric for best?
Yeah.
Best 1, best 2, best 3?
Yeah.
Do better? Better than do better? Better is better?
Well, if your goal is to do best, then that goal will always change because once you've mastered something, then you can you can always get a little better.
Uh-huh.
So you'll never really. We can talk more about this later.
Yes.
But James Clear. No, you know what? I'm gonna talk about it right now.
Okay.
James Clear. He has a lot of good resources on his website, so I'm not gonna like steal his ideas. But I've read a lot about his research and his suggestions, and he says to put like an upper bound on your goals too, so that if you want to lose 5 pounds, for example, to have like a cap, but no more than 10. So you have this like range that my goal lives within here,
Right.
so that it's more realistic when you work towards it, and then you can adapt and change the goal later on. But I like that to like set a cap too, so there's a place for you to work within.
I agree. I really like that because it takes off a lot of pressure
Yes.
on people. Like it gives you a little bit of leeway and you don't feel like because some people, high achievers a lot of the time, like perfectionists, feel like they have to go above and beyond to feel like they've achieved the goal. But if you set that range and you're within that range, then you're happy because you know I stayed within this range. So I'm good.
Exactly. And well, it can lead to burnout if you never accept your best.
Right. And then number 8, 35% of all people cannot accomplish their goals set during New Year's resolutions because of unrealistic goals.
I believe that.
I agree with that. I think a lot of we talked about this in the New Year's Eve episode. We talked about how a lot of people kind of set these goals because it's New Year's, but not really thinking about the implication of the goals and what is going to take for those goals to be achieved.
Exactly. It's not, I don't think it's an unrealistic goal. I think it's unrealistic execution of the goal.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Wow, that's a clip. That's a clip-worthy quote.
Well, but because most things can be accomplished, but with the right realistic timeline.
Right. You can't just set a goal and think you're just going to achieve it. You really have to build out a plan instead of
chop it down in smaller pieces and chunks. Like you don't need to. I don't know how to. I was trying to find like a funny way to say it, but I can't come up with it. I was like, you don't need to cut the whole 3 at the same time. Like, but you don't need to do the whole thing in like 2 months. Like it doesn't need to be quick. Which also is why I think a lot of people fail. Like, for example, if you think about diets, people do like quick diets, extreme training for a couple of months. If you want those results, that's a lifestyle change. It's not a temporary change. No. And if you reach your goal of weight loss, but then you gain it back, like what did you really do? You like temporarily reached a goal. It's not something to be happy about, but really, did you really do anything?
Right. I mean, you did something, but if it's not a lasting change, there's no point of it.
Yeah.
But you mentioned something about big goals, and when it comes to big goals, set them as long-term goals.
Exactly.
And then break it down into like biteable pieces, so that way you're not overwhelmed and you're just slowly making progress, which I think is also
it's a motivating factor.
Yes, it's just, you got to celebrate the small victories. Who said that? I think it was like a change management thing. They say
Probably.
celebrate the small victories.
Yes.
Okay, last
Okay.
one. All right. Over 1,000 studies show that setting high goals results in better task performance, motivation, and persistence compared to vague goals.
I love these statistics
I feel like they're just saying the
they
same
needed
thing.
to do research on it.
I mean, they have links to all of these things from different articles, but I feel like it's just repeating the same things over and over again.
But also, it's like I feel like some of these are a no-brainer.
Yes, but you know what? You can't assume everyone knows stuff. I'm skimming through that 35 goal stats list right now, and I think these ones are quite a little bit better because they're actually citing studies when it comes to these stats. So check out the 35 amazing goal statistics you should know 2024.
We will link it.
We will link it in the description. I think this one's a better article, but that's our intro to. Those are the stats that were reviewed.
Yes.
So shall we take a quick ad break and come back?
A little bit of ad break.
A little bit of ad break. Tense muscles? Try a 15-minute regimen of stretching every morning. You'll feel looser than ever. Stretching, your painful but gainful friend. Please advise that stretching is not a medical provider. This probably will only work if you're a healthy and standard person. If you suspect a medical issue, go talk to a physician. Wow, what a great ad. Our sponsors are so great.
I know. It was so hard to find these guys, but I'm so grateful they're willing to sponsor us.
And if you want to sponsor us, please contact us.
We'll give you 5 seconds of airtime.
5 seconds? That's very generous, SANNA.
I think so.
So generous.
Yeah. Kanye, we'll add your video in.
I don't think Kanye wants to sponsor us. I don't think we're his aesthetic.
Come on.
Maybe if we put ourselves in the whatchamacallit. No, the stockings. Because his wife wore like a stocking thing head to toe
where she looked like a shadow?
Sure.
That one? I don't know.
Okay.
Like, wasn't she trying to make a point with that one?
I don't know, SANNA. I don't keep up with
like
pop
she was
culture.
Trying to show that like her like the outline of Kim Kardashian was so well known that she didn't have to wear.
Oh, is that what it was?
I think that was at least speculations of why, but that has nothing to do with goal setting. Okay, so yeah, let's move on. So in this section, we're going to talk about kind of our personal experiences about goals. Mm-hmm.
As we mentioned earlier, there's a goal that we did not achieve. Well, the goal was to launch the podcast, but we had a lot of learning experiences throughout it.
Which is a part of the journey. Yes, it is good. Failure is good.
Is good.
There's so many, like, not to sound like that, but there's so many, like, learning opportunities in failure.
Yes, I agree.
Because so we filmed a New Year's episode. That was our plan.
Actually, we filmed it. Well, we filmed 2 episodes. Well, okay, we filmed a New Year's episode, and had some problems with that. Yes. Then we filmed another episode, and also had problems with that.
Yeah. Well, and like we were trying to figure out how to better communicate on podcasts because we were doing way too many inside jokes. Where I was like, I have no clue how our audience is going to understand what we're talking about.
Right.
And it was too all over the place.
Yes.
But then also like the quality of the sound, the quality of the video, although we're still working on it.
Yes.
Like it was just so rough that we couldn't publish it. But I think it was a good thing that we didn't do well so that we can do better.
Because then we could learn. And I feel like we're still learning now. Because with each episode, we have stuff that we've been improving, and then stuff we recognize, oh, we did really good on this episode, so let's incorporate that.
Yeah.
And then, oh, these are the things that are wrong in this episode. So let's fix those, figure out a plan to fix those, and then just constantly evolving and improving. So as a part of that, I feel like people shouldn't be scared of critically analyzing their progress, because it's okay not to be perfect.
Yeah.
And you have to admit the wrongs and the mistakes to be able to grow from them.
Well, but like, it is so good though, because if you're honest with yourself, you can be like, okay, when I work on this goal, I didn't do really well when I did A, B, Z, C.
Right.
Like, I have to change it out. I have to change out my methods, because that's literally what we've been doing with, like, it's a what's it called? Like, it's a trial and error.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, don't be afraid to look at your wrongdoings. It's okay. It's good. Look at it as a positive way. I think there's someone who said about something about stress. There are people who look at stress, who are high stress people, but look at stress as a positive thing, and they progress well by looking at stress as a positive thing. So look at your failures as a positive thing.
That's
Pressure.
Well, and I think a lot of times when people work on goals and then they fail and they want to wait for a clean slate. So like sometimes you want to wait for the next day to restart your goal or the next week to restart your goal because you failed. Your clean slate is the moment after you failed.
I think that's something I struggle with a lot is having the courage to face my failures right away and then starting anew right away because it's hard to just kind of, I say it's good and it is good, but it's hard for me to just face it right away because I have a shame cycle going.
Yeah.
But that is good to have that, adapt that mindset on, okay, you failed, great, let's move on and let's improve from it right away. So then that just cuts the shame and cuts the anxiety and kind of lets you progress forward instead of having that lapse of time.
So how do you usually deal with your shame cycle?
I'll be honest here, I don't deal with it well.
Yeah.
It's something I'm still working through. I've had lots of problems for a while and just started learning the reasonings behind them. And so I still don't deal with it well, but I recognize that I have a shame cycle and I try to be less avoidant because I'm very avoidant.
Yeah.
But it's a long time coming. It's habits that I've built up throughout all my life. So it's really hard to break that I'm trying to break. So that's kind of what's happening right now.
But recognition is
the first step.
The first step. So
step one.
You're on the way.
Yes.
But I think a lot of people do struggle with that. With a type of shame cycle.
Yeah. I mean, I bet everyone struggles with it, but people just cope with it better than other people.
Exactly.
And I'm one of those people that doesn't know how to cope with it well and developed many bad habits to cope with it. But you know what? I broke some of my bad habits. I used to when I used to be in shame cycles, I used to just make really reckless decisions and do reckless things to cope with my shame. But I don't do that anymore. So I think that's progress.
That's a win.
That's a win.
That's a win for the girls.
Yes. Celebrate your small victories.
Yes.
And you got to be kind of happy with the small progresses that you make.
Yeah. Be optimistic.
What about describe a time when you failed a goal but then learned from that experience? Like the best learning or realization from that experience.
Well, okay. So there was a job that I had a couple years ago, and there's not like a goal per se, but like I always want to do my very best in every situation I'm in. I'm very like high achiever in that sense, and I don't like to fall short. But there was this one client that we worked with, and there was a lot of miscommunication, and he wasn't super happy. And that was the first time I really had an experience like it. So I was very confused about how I was supposed to go about it. Because from my point of view, I had the necessary conversations, but he had either forgotten or just like dismissed it, or there was a communication problem, right? Like maybe I didn't communicate as well as I thought I had. And then it came back to me that he wasn't super happy about the relationship. So, so in that sense, it feels like a failure to me, right?
Right.
Like that I didn't do that well. But so I was like sad for a second, but I was like, okay, there's nothing else for me to do than to fix this. I have to fix this. So, and I was like, I gotta face my problems head on, English. So what I did is that I set up a meeting with him one on one. And then I emailed him. I was like, hey, I have heard that you're not super happy about how this project is progressing. Super sorry about that. Let's figure this out. Let's figure out how I can better communicate with you, what communication channels you prefer, how you prefer to go about the project, how's your comfort zone in this project? Like how involved you want to be,
Mm-hmm.
blah blah. We met and we talked about it, and then after that we had such a good relationship, like better than I had with the other people that I was working with, because I got out of the failure like, oh my gosh, I did such a bad job. Like an option could have been to just have a bad relationship and just finish the project, not really communicate after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But instead I was like, okay, I always want to do my best. I always want to be a high achiever. So I have to face my failures, recognize that maybe I didn't communicate as well as I should have, and then fix it.
So for me, when I listen to that story, I think about courage. How did you have build up the courage? I mean, how do you go about building up the courage to face your problems?
Because the opposite is so much worse.
Is that how you cope with it?
Well,
You
because
just think about the opposite?
yes, because I think about, if I don't do anything about it, then I will feel like I didn't do my best. And if I don't do my best, then I will always feel a little down about my
Right.
efforts. And honestly, what I learned from that experience also is that you overthink things so much. It was such a good conversation. It wasn't negative. It was just things that hadn't been spoken about that needed to be spoken about. Um, so just like do a reality check and don't overthink things that just has to be done. Like a lot, like if I'm nervous about a meeting at work, or if I'm nervous about something that I have to do, or I'm nervous, like I don't want to do a workout, just in your mind, just put the action aside and say, in 30 minutes, this will be over. Just do my best for 30 minutes, and then done. You did it. Or like just go to the gym, do that 1 hour workout. Don't think about it. Just go, show up, and then in an hour, you did it. And you kind of have to set like your emotions aside.
Right.
Um, and I know that's easier said than done, and it's a training that you kind of have to do with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, that's what gets me through a lot of hard things.
So that's something that I think I'll probably adapt a little bit more when I deal with my goals, but I'll start using that mindset for smaller things
Mm-hmm.
first.
Yeah.
Like when I used to be in bad places, the biggest struggle for me was even taking a shower or brushing my teeth
Yeah.
were difficult things.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I still do struggle with that. But if I set my mindset to, if I just do this, then it's done. I don't have to worry about it and don't have to feel stressed about it that it didn't
Yeah.
get done. And I think I'll start kind of adapting that to
Yeah.
the smaller things in my
Mhm.
life. So thank you, Sana.
Of course.
Words of wisdom. I'm just learning here. So speaking of goals and kind of personal goals, I feel like we should talk about
Yeah.
some goals that we have for us, for this
Oh, yes.
this
Uh-huh.
platform. So, well, I'll talk about some of the
Yeah.
goals that I have for this platform. One of the biggest things is I think it'd be great if we're able to build up enough listeners to where we can start earning some money, some revenue from this, because this is a business that we're technically building.
And you said you weren't a gold digger?
I guess I am a gold digger. So one of the specific goals that I do have, well, we have,
Mm-hmm.
is that we would build up at least 500 subscribers by the end of the year.
Yes.
That's a good thing for YouTube.
Little community.
Mm-hmm. And then build up at least 100 listeners on Spotify so we can turn on monetization there. So
Yeah. Well, and I think just overall, one of like the base goals that we have is just we want to start building a community.
yes.
so that we can also like communicate with our listeners, provide content and ideas that you want to see.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, we have ways for you guys to contact us. Our email's out there, our
mm-hmm.
Reddit is out there. We have a break room thing. There's side little mini episodes. And
Yes.
if you want us to weigh in on some life thing you're going through, or, tell us a funny story about what's happening,
Yeah.
yeah,
Or
contact us there. I
yeah.
check the email almost every day.
Yes. And it is empty every day. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're sad.
But
We're
so
sad.
we're more than happy to like read, talk about it, and
Mm-hmm.
judge you hardcore. So please
Exactly.
send your worst stories to us.
And we have some marketing goals as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, I think it all boils down to the community piece because like we
Right.
want to gain a following on our social medias.
But not just because it's a following.
Yeah, like a following in the terms of community. Like
Right.
I want people to come back because they enjoy the content.
Yes.
And so I guess like first year goals is actually also getting like feedback. I want
Yeah.
people to be comfortable and involved enough where they provide us feedback so that we can improve
Yes.
and do better.
Yeah. Leave us comments. Tell us how we can be better. We're always looking to kind of
Yeah.
improve things. Ultimately, in this journey, we're just trying to provide valuable content to
Yes.
people and maybe a couple laughs.
Yeah.
A couple things like,
Exactly.
that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let me brag to my coworkers about what I learned.
Exactly. Like when you next time you say I learned something, it's because you watched this.
Where did you learn that? Oh, these dumb chicks. These dumb chicks on this podcast told me this.
From a board meeting.
From a board? Oh, yeah. These dumb chicks from a board meeting told us this. Yeah.
Well, but if we look at just goal setting that we've talked about today, more in general too, the feedback piece, like the criticism, don't be too prideful where you don't accept feedback or criticism on your goal.
Yes.
Because if your way is the only way to reach your goal, you might limit yourself. Because there's people that has done what you want to do. Most of the goals that we set for ourselves has been accomplished already. So if you can get feedback from others that have done it, or like say the family around you or friends, they know that you're working on a goal and they say, hey, I see that you're working on this. I've heard this thing or I've done this thing. I think you should incorporate it. Like be open-minded enough that you take the feedback and then you can incorporate it in your plan.
Right. Kind of humble yourselves a little bit. But we've kind of been talking about that all throughout as accountability partners, having a community. And I had one more thing I wanted to say about our goals for this, but I totally forgot. So let's go ahead and move on. Since we've kind of already been talking about little goal setting tips and tricks, and we'll kind of talk about that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then determine if the goal is cool or not. Goal setting is cool or not.
It's cool.
Cool.
It's cool.
Well, okay, we haven't determined that yet.
Well, so should we do a little ad break?
Oh, we sure will. Let's move on and see you in the next after the ad break. Do you want a valid reason to tell your friends what to do when driving? Sit in the passenger seat and pull up Google Maps. You're welcome. You'll annoy the hell out of them. Okay, so we've kind of talked about tips and tricks throughout.
Yes.
But what other tips and tricks do you have, SANNA, that people can utilize to help goal setting?
Well, okay. I'm going to steal this one from James Clear.
I don't think it's stealing if you quote him on that. I mean, you've been quoting him and not taking it as your own. It's not plagiarism if you give credit.
Well, so this is James Clear talking about a story from Warren Buffett. And I don't think it's a revolutionary idea, but if you are in the very start of wanting to improve your life, you might sit down and be like, oh, I want to achieve this. I want to be healthier. I have business goals. I have personal goals, fitness goals. Like you have so many things that you want to accomplish. So Warren Buffett said, write down 25, just take a couple minutes, write down 25 of your goals or things that you want to accomplish. And then, you write the list and then he goes, okay, circle the top 5 that you have. and then you circle the top 5. The top 5 will be your list A, and the remaining 20 will be your list B. It essentially says, forget about list B. Don't even think about it. Don't give it a single thought. Your top 5 is the only things that you should be working on. The top 5 might also be pretty big goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you always need to break it down.
Right.
But James Clear also talks about the importance of having like an association with your goal. Like it has to be incorporated into your daily life.
Right. I mean, you kind of talked about that earlier with the
Yeah,
whole habitual change. Like goals are
exactly.
not just achievements, they're lifestyle changes.
Uh-huh. So he's saying to like combine it with something that you already always do. So like
Oh.
as some example says, when you wake up, you make the bed immediately. That's a small little goal, right? Or before I shower, I do 10 push-ups. So like it's
Oh.
connected to something else that you will always do. So like if it's small like lifestyle changes, that can be done like pretty well. Or after I've had dinner, I read 10 pages in a book.
Right.
Or after I brush my teeth, I will do the thing where you, what's it called? Floss. I will floss.
So clearly you don't floss. No, I'm kidding.
It's English. But that's a way to like not cheat, but kind of cheat your way into incorporating the habit because you associate it with something else.
Right. That's a very powerful habit building tool, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're already doing your daily life thing.
Yes.
So you're just adding one more step to it.
Because
And one more step is not too crazy.
it's not exactly. And all of our goals and habit changes, they need a time and place. If they don't have a time and place, you don't know when it's going to be done. So I know a lot of people that have like fitness goals, they schedule their workout as a regular appointment so that it won't be missed. Because if your goal is so floaty, like I want to eat better, okay, how are you going to do it?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do about it? Like if you're going to eat healthier, you need to have healthier options available. Like if you struggle eating chocolate, I love chocolate. If I have chocolate around, I will eat it. Every time there's chocolate in my house, I eat it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I probably binge eat that chocolate like it was nothing.
Oh, 1 second about chocolate. I made chocolate mousse cake. Do you want some?
Yes.
Okay. Back to the goal setting.
But so it needs to have a time and place. Like it
Right.
won't happen if it doesn't have a time and place because it's a habit. You don't the goal that you want to incorporate, you don't do it. So you have to give it space in your calendar. Like schedule it in, associate it with something else that you always do. Yeah.
I think a great tool to use that people can just easily use is a SMART goal setting.
Yes.
Uh,
Talk to us about SMART goals.
Well, SMART goals, it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So for specific, you want your goals to be specific.
Yeah.
And you also want them to be measurable. So go ahead and put in a measurable metric in the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to want to make sure it's achievable, not like I'm going to make $1 million in 3 days type of a thing.
Yeah.
Unless that is actually achievable for you, but you know, be achievable. You want achievable, realistic, not like I'm going to find a unicorn in the fairy forest in 3 days. That's not realistic.
Yeah.
That's not real life.
Well, and with all of that, right? If you want to be a millionaire, what do you have to do to become a millionaire?
Exactly.
Maybe then you have to think about strategies. Do I want to open my own business?
Yes.
Do I have to get into investing? Okay, what do I have to do to get into investing? You have to learn something. Maybe you should take some classes.
Right.
Maybe you should read some books. What are good books? Like if you just like take it, reverse engineer it,
Yes.
and go back to like, okay, what do I need to actually do this? That's when you can set goals because then then you can be like, okay, every day I have to read 10 pages in this book about investing. Like those are the little steps that you can do every day to reach your goal, which is what the SMART goal does, right?
Yes. Well, yeah, mostly. Then
Specific.
T is specific, but then you would set like a specific general goal,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll break it down into little chunks and pieces. So like you said, reverse engineer it. And then T stands for time bound. So you're going to want to set a timeline to where you're going to achieve the goal. Like SANNA said, you can set a one big goal, and then you'll set mini goals throughout to achieve that. And set a schedule on how you're going to achieve it.
Yeah.
So.
I love it. Do you have any other examples on goals that you've done that have been smart? Have you made any smart goals?
Have I ever made any smart goals? I probably have. I just can't think of any right now.
Yeah.
I know so I've lost 10 pounds the last 6 months. That has been a goal of mine. I did set a SMART goal.
Yeah.
However
what?
I got distracted when building my plan. So I'm going to come back to it.
Yes.
But I have built my SMART goal. I'd like to lose another 10 pounds within the next 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I have built a semi-plan that's just not detailed enough.
Yeah.
So actively working on that. But SANNA's the goal-setting queen here. She's just done so many.
I just talk a lot. Okay.
Goal achievement settings. So
well,
I mean, anything else we want to say before we recap?
One more thing that I want to say. And it is regards to what you were saying. And it is the planning piece. It's so important, but don't get stuck in the planning piece.
Yes. Don't get stressed out in this planning piece.
Yes, or don't feel too accomplished by the planning that you don't do your goal.
Right. Realistic. Make a plan that's realistic.
Because the plan is nothing if you don't incorporate it.
Exactly.
If you have a pretty plan, that's awesome, but it's making 0 changes. Your plan is setting you up for success, but the actual change happens in your action. So if you don't have a plan on doing and following through with a plan, the plan is trash.
Right. I agree. And I definitely, one more thing to add kind of on top of that, just celebrate your small victories. I think as you're doing the goal setting, you made this plan and the plan's great, but also if you were able to, I don't know, your goal was to work out an hour every day throughout the week.
Yeah.
But you were able to work out only 30 minutes throughout the week. That is still okay. You made some progress.
Exactly.
As long as you maintain the progress.
Yes, well, and in addition to that, you're creating and forming a habit.
Yes.
And I could talk a lot about this. I love this stuff.
SANNA. Like making goals? Try the SMART system. It might actually help you be smart. So the camera cut off at the perfect place for an ad break. So hope you enjoyed that ad. Essentially, I feel like if we could sum up the whole thing, SANNA, you're saying goal setting is habit building.
Yes, if you're smart.
If you're smart.
Yeah. You want your goals to be habits.
Yep.
We love that.
Yep. And I think SANNA has a lot more to say about.
I love this stuff. I'm a nerd for these topics. So, we might just make a little break room sesh talking a little bit more about James Clear, Atomic Habits, and other similar books and thoughts and methodologies.
Yes. Go check out James Clear and Atomic Habits.
Yes.
Shout out to James Clear. Shout it out. So, goal setting, is it bound for failure?
It is not.
I believe it's not. I think if you take the right steps, and are serious about changing your goals and breaking it up into small pieces and committed to the habitual change, you're bound for success.
And you don't fail until you stop trying.
Exactly.
I know that's a cliche, but it is the truth.
Word.
Chicka,
chicka, word.
Word.
Okay, so successful board session 4, I would say.
Goals are cool.
Goals are really cool. All right, well, should we close the board session?
Yes, let's.
All right, close the board session, and we will see you at the next one.
Yes, see you.
Bye.